Could we have an October surprise before your very lives, or something for which you might have to prep or maybe need some help? Well, this is the first day of October 2020, and this is Greg Allison with Green Gregs. And this is something that we need to ponder aplenty. So what's coming up? As we well know, October has had a history of October surprises, things that one party or the other or both parties might pull to try to influence a presidential election, to throw it more in their favor or their favor. And so we might have things from either side. And some of these things, especially in this year, oh yeah, 2020 has been such a normal, just blah year, right? Especially this year, wow, what could happen? Things could happen even if they weren't intended this year, as we will see. All kind of things have been troubling you and me. So what could happen? Are there things that could happen to be so over the top that we could really have to prep for them? Now, as you all know, one of those things that can happen that pertains to an October surprise would be a war. We could have a war. It could be an external war with another nation or an internal war. And Lord knows there's plenty going on and around right now. I've been talking about China till my face turns blue, and what's going on with Taiwan and all around the country of China. But now I will always say that there's good people in China, good, smart people. So it's not about the people. It's about the governments and the parties that run these governments. And none of these parties are exactly entirely innocent, as you know. And each party wants to maintain as much power or gain power, and it's a big contest. And this year is fever pitch in the United States more than we've ever seen it. Both sides are, scorched earth. So what's going to come of all this? We've had internal strife, and that could be it too. Lots of internal strife. And so, Greg, why does all this matter in terms of prepping? Well, if we get into a conflict with China, if we get into conflict with Russia, as it could happen, I don't think this is likely, but there's this little thing going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan, which I just covered in the previous video. And there is things going on with Iran. Right now, Iran's hot. We have more tension, the media's not really talking about it. Well, we'll just talk about that briefly. But Iran, Russia, China, any of these nations, North Korea, all these nations could take out our power grid. And that would be severe. That was something that would really impact you. Of course, it would also impact the ability to vote. And maybe you wouldn't need elections, but you couldn't have one. All right, so let's hope it didn't come to that. I don't think it's going to be there yet, but it merits discussion, because wag the dog and this October surprise thing has gone on quite often. We can, like I said, we need to talk about it from both sides and what it really means, and how you've got to get ready for it. This whole prep inspector is something that you've got to pay a lot of attention to, because this year has just been one of those, what burgers, if you know what I mean, without quit. So yeah, we're going to talk about this embassy deal here. But first, I would say you better get ready. The good deal is right now, the good news, and even if you don't need it, it's still good news, is I'm offering through prepwithgreg.com, through My Patriot Supply, a special deal. You can get $100 off, $100 off a 4-week supply of long-term 25-year storage food. This is 3 meals a day for one person for 4 entire weeks, 2,000 calories a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And guess what? You get, look what all you get here. This is all kind of good, yummy stuff. And check it out. You can get desserts and drinks. Look, guys, to eat for a month for that, come on. That's a bargain anyway you shake it. And it lasts 25 years. 25 years, if you don't eat it now and you keep it for a while, 25 years from now, when you look at the other prices of food, you can go, wow, I'm glad I got this. This was an investment. None of that. The cool thing about this stuff is it's freeze-dried, dehydrated. You can carry this stuff around real easy in these lightweight buckets. I'll show you a bucket. I'm going to do some meals on this probably later this month after I get taxes done, I hope. So these are excellent deals. I highly encourage you to check it out. And you can get other prepping supplies. And if you're going through prepwithgreg.com, it helps me and my channel. Just go to prepwithgreg.com, And links below in my show notes and in my pin notes in the comment section of the videos. So I just click with my Patriot Supply logo, and bada bing, bada bang, you got all kinds of survival items, survival gear, cooking gear, lighting, stoves. Hey, y'all know you need camp stoves, right? When you're going out, first aid stuff, you saw that. Water filtration, air purification, more choices in emergency food, you know, a full year of stuff in number 10 cans, which I like that too. And I got, you know, a little bit of that. So, hey guys, I would encourage you, survival books. Hey man, I'm gonna tell you what, the internet is not going to be around if the grid goes down. So you better have some books. So let's look over here just a second. Then we're going to talk about this by the dog thing. War. War could be, of course, something, and it may happen anyway. It may not be an October surprise. It could just happen because we got a lot of tension in the world right now, domestically and internationally. And this is one case where Pompeo is threatening, our Secretary of State, threatening to close the U.S. Embassy in Iraq if the militias don't halt attacks. And I know I've covered this in the past and have not said a lot about it lately, but we're still getting rockets from Iranian-backed militias coming into our green zone and quite often killing civilians. And you know, we have a very large embassy in Iraq. It's our largest embassy anywhere. We took over Saddam Hussein's presidential palace in the bend of the Tigris River to build this complex. And it's pretty large. It's quite a place to be given up. So, but there may be more to it than that. Here's an article that talks all out of the New York Times that talks all about the dimensions of it and what it means. And people say, well, gosh, you know, we'll be ceding to the Iranian black militias and they'd be declaring victory if we give it up. So why in the world would we do that? And I talked with some of my officers, friends, including General, who tells me he didn't think that this was going to lead to this, but look, check this out. Our other American officials voiced concerns that closing the Baghdad embassy could signal, wittingly or not, that American military action was imminent against Iranian-backed militias or even Iran itself, raising the specter of a larger clash in the Middle East just weeks before what? The U.S. presidential elections. Well, golly gee, there you go. There's a big October surprise. And we know we had an October surprise one year related vis-a-vis the Iranian hostage crisis too, right? So we'll talk also about the effectivity of October surprises. So let me stop this share and we'll just talk for a minute. We'll go back into it in a second. So both parties, either party would like to pull an October surprise, something that would happen at the last minute so big that the other party just couldn't recover from it, and it would sweep their candidate into the office. Now, admittedly, October surprises from the analysts are believed to only have maybe 1 or 2 percentage points effect in actually changing the vote. So it don't sound like much, except for most of our last elections over the last few decades have been decided by like 1 percentage point of the vote. So 1 percentage point might possibly be decisive. So an October surprise could do something, even though they were down. Oh, it's only a percentage of the vote. Well, yeah, a percentage of the vote decides some of these elections, sometimes far or less. You remember the hanging chads that were counting once upon a time in one state? Holy smoke, let's hope we don't get into that again. But what are the kind of things that could cause it? Well, there could be investigations into, say, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden over dealings in Yugoslavia and with Russia. You know, it was supposedly Trump's asking about that from the Yugoslavian president that launched an investigation against him, said he was over using his office. Well, it just so happens that appeared to have been some real dirty dealings going on over there. And could that dig out the dirt? I mean, what either side would want to do is slap dirt on the other guy before they have time to wash it off before everybody runs the polls. Of course, this year with a lot of people voting early, it may have even less effect. It may be not enough, no matter what any party polls at this point. But I'm thinking there's still enough people voting in the polls and voting later enough that it could have some effect, an October surprise. Now, like I said, either side can do October surprise. Right now, I'm going to focus first on things that Trump might do, since I started talking about potential war, and I'm just talking about investigations of the Bidens over deals, and perhaps in Yugoslavia with Russia or otherwise. Because there's been a lot of allegations out there. They might pull something out and toss it at Joe. What do you know? I don't know. This is all in the realm of speculation. And the only reason we speculate about that here and now is because two things. One, there could be something that would happen that would affect you and your family's security that you might have to prep for. It could cause a threat to our power grid or other things, or safety in our streets. No one knows anything about that this year, will we? No, that's so far-fetched, right? So there's something. The other thing is the results of the election at the end of the election may be worse than going into the election, because neither side are going to be happy with the outcome. It could get ugly post-election. That's something to think about. And that would be internal civil strife. And potential wag the dog might come after that too. So on our side, now talking about China wagging the dog, hey, I would say that, we went into Bosnia and Herzegovina, I always thought, because I felt like Billy Clinton was wagging a dog back then. Anyway, so, it could be investigation. And then another set of investigations that could occur could be investigations of the Obama administration, because they were accused of spying on the Trump campaign when Trump was running for president. And, this can include guys like Brennan. It can include guys like John Brennan. It could be James Comey. It could be James Clapper. As we know, James Clapper was the head of national intelligence. And we know that Comey was the head of the FBI and Brennan was the head of the CIA. Well, it seems that Obama used the full force of the federal government to spy on the Trump campaign in 2016. And there's allegations that Joe Biden was part of that. Now that would, if they got something on that, that would be a huge October surprise if they could release a bombshell in regards to that. I said if, and I'm not saying that that's coming out, but there's been allegations to that effect. So that would be a big one. You got to remember, the Nixon administration was brought down because a few guys broke into the Watergate Hotel to get some data to spy on the McGovern campaign. It wasn't a full force. It wasn't agency level. This was just some thugs, some little petty criminals. One of which made it real famous after that. Well, Libby, remember Libby? He got quite famous. Became a talk show host. Quite an interesting character. But anyway, so these are but it brought Nixon down. But Biden's running for president. He might have had a hand in something far bigger, far more heinous. The full force of the federal government. Hey, saying maybe, don't know. Look, either side in power, there's no side that's beyond pulling things. So don't go, well, if you're a Democrat, well, that was our side. They wouldn't do that, and vice versa. Neither side is beyond pulling some tricks, and that was a big trick if it was pulled, and that would definitely have a big glob of stinky dirt. Maybe animal process type, if you know what I mean. That's a big one. That could happen. We're going to toss it around some more. We're going to get on the other side of here in a little bit. There's also the prospects of what these agencies were doing vis-a-vis the Russian collusion allegations. They got on to Trump as soon as he got elected president. So, well, he was colluding with the Russians. He was a foreign agent of Russia, blah, 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 blah. And, that's come out now that there's really nothing to it. But, a lot of these guys were involved in that. That's another piece that they were trying to basically pull the Trump administration down as soon as he got in power on that. Well, if you're going to pull somebody down, use something that's got more credible credits to it than someone generating a fake dossier and using that as an excuse to launch all these investigations. Of course, we've heard that, I believe it was Clapper said, James Clapper said, well, who's come up with the dossier, it don't matter. Who paid for the dossier is irrelevant. Okay, Mr. James Clapper, Mr. Director of National Intelligence, once upon a time, and lately an author of a book. It's kind of hard to, you can sell that to some of the people. I don't think everybody's buying that. So there are some really biggies, the wag the dog, definitely. The war would definitely put us on the backstretch, and have us in the need to prep. these political allegations could cause civil strife in this country. But I don't think that would happen out of those allegations. Of course, there's this whole thing about the post office, and either side might use the post office, you know, in their arguments for whatever agenda they want to play pre or post election. So, you know, maybe Trump's using it pre-election, the Democrats might use it post-election. Really? So there's a big bugaboo with all the mail-in ballots coming. I know I had to quit shipping worms because the post office was getting hard to deal with. And then the bug epidemic broke out. And that was long before some of these recent allegations. So we can flip it around. What about the other side? Well, you know, President Trump had a TV show. He used to run beauty pageants. So a lot of, you know, anybody in the world can come up and make an allegation in a current media environment. Whether it's true or not, don't matter. If somebody makes an allegation against somebody, it almost sticks. Some people are Teflon. Maybe Trump's got enough Teflon, he can shed it for a while, or shed it well enough to get through. I don't know. It depends on what, you know, how fever pitched it gets. You know, it's we had Judge Roy Moore running for senator here in Alabama, and he had some allegations made against him. Well, after the campaign was over, it's all found to be a bunch of hooey, but it got him not elected. And so we have Doug Jones as a Democratic senator because of that. But Roy Moore was a lightning rod. Him running, he knew, you know, it was pretty obvious everybody was going to attack him. And sometimes that really doesn't matter what the truth is, as long as the media jumps on something endlessly, people interpret it as the truth. So allegations may come out, true or false. There may be all kinds of allegations. In fact, there already are some coming up. What's the veracity of their accuracy? Well, we know. Probably not in time. That's the point of an October surprise. Just throw something out there that you can't figure out until after the fact and let it do its damage. And then after, oh, well, that was just somebody blowing hot air. Well, you know, people should pay for that, you know. You go out and blow hot air and you destroy a career, you destroy a country, a candidacy on a false allegation, then you're off the hook. You know, either side, see, that's a problem. You know, there are a lot of abuses take place, and there's plenty of things that happen that are worthy of an allegation. But that's such an old political trick now that everybody pulls that rabbit out of the hat. A lot of people do, and they play that card. And it's in every deck now. It's in every deck of cards. No matter who you are, you could be a total virgin running for office, and they would accuse you. I guarantee you. There's not a whole lot of virgins running for office, but I do have a friend who is 58 who's still a virgin. I swear. He is. And no, he's not gay. He's just a germaphobe. So that's interesting, right? But he would get accused by somebody. Probably. So that's one of those things that get played. And then, you know, there's either side, you know, will be challenging the other side on the basis of mental and this and that. And there's just plenty of allegations out there that people won't throw out and try to stick. And, you know, who knows, the Russian collusion may come back up, even though it seemed to be proved not true. Once something gets in the minds of people, the media will just play it, and anything like that. You know, Trump's not an angel by any means. And neither is Joe Biden, you know, a creepy Joe, right? He does like to hug the girls a little bit much. You know, it could come up on him too, you know. So what goes around comes around, especially when you start throwing out those kind of allegations, because I don't know. Like I said, put your trust in no man in the end. I trust more the people and what they want to do, what their intentions are, sometimes than the individuals that wind up in the front of the train. But that's just the way it is. That's the nature of the beast. So what else might the Democrats try? That would potentially cause you to want to prep. And it could be, you know, ratcheting up the protests, the riots. That's one thing a lot of people have been concerned about. It's one of the top concerns of people on the conservative side, the right, or just people who live out in the country and farms. They worry that those people are going to come out to their places and burn their homes and farms. And I can see why they're worried about that. But you got to bear in mind that this seems to have backfired big time and may cost the Democrats big time in this election cycle. That may be the one thing that will undermine them. is they're not seeing it being in favor of law enforcement. I did that video called "It's a Madhouse," you know, Carlton Heston playing the astronaut in the Planet of the Apes, who's come to upside down world in which the apes are in charge and humans mostly don't talk except maybe him. And he's been sprayed with water because they can't figure out how to handle him. They think he's a freak, but he thinks he's a freaky world. And in the world he's in, both cases are true. All of that maybe. Of course, in the end, they find out they're on planet Earth, actually, in the future. Well, let's hope we're not going there. But still, this whole idea that you think it's okay to not give people the rights to, you know, bare their skin on their arms, right? You know what I mean. And in addition to that, so you can't defend yourself. Oh, in addition to that, we're going to take away, we're going to defund the police. And oh yeah, and by the way, we're also going to burn your house down. Burn your businesses. That don't fly. All those things together, no. But that was kind of what was being put. Oh yeah, and we're also going to get rid of the culture, cancel culture. We don't like culture at all, none of it. Wipe it all out. You know, that just don't fly well on Main Street or out in the farm. And that probably did the party on the left a whole lot of harm. You know, there's a lot of people on the left that don't see that being a problem. They don't understand it. But to the people in the middle who are not on either side, they're looking, oh grief, oh my gosh, a lot of them are. And toward the end, some of them have woke up to that. The fact, like even Nancy Pelosi, who was really supporting these guys, she backtracked on it, and some of the others did too. So I'm thinking, and I could be very wrong, but I'm thinking they're not going to overplay that hand early on, at least. Some people are saying they think it's all going to break loose, and they got evidence of this, that, and the other, that this stuff is just going to go nuts right before the election. I would say the biggest time of danger is after the election or after the inauguration. And where if Trump wins, the left may just turn it all loose then. If Biden wins, the right may turn up loose, especially if they want to come around and start collecting soda straws with spit wads, if you know what I mean. That ain't gonna fly. So there is just a lot of things that could break loose, a lot of reasons that you need to consider prepping. I'm not thinking though that those things are going to happen prior to the election from that side in that way, and I could be wrong. I hope I'm right on that, but I could be wrong. I think those that are concerned about that, I think we've seen the worst of that for a little while, but after the election, bets are off. Bets are off. I don't know what's going to happen after the election. We could have an ugly situation. Let's hope we can make peace in this country and move forward. But we've got a lot of things of consternation coming up with Supreme Court justice being nominated and all these things happening. There's a lot of things in the move right now that can cause a lot of consternation. Oh, there's another thing now that might pull down the riots. It just so happens that it's been said that the FBI and some of the other federal agencies created clone phones, and they have mapped out the entire structure of BLM, Antifa, and the people that funded them entirely. They got all the leadership, the participants, and the funders completely mapped out and identified. And if they're going to start anything else, that they will be mass arrest. Now, I don't know, that's just something somebody has claimed. It's out there. And what does that mean? Well, let's hope that if it's done, it will be the people arrested will be the ones that actually committed real crimes that were involved in. You know, I said you got a right to peacefully protest, but you do not have a right to burn things, to kill people, to beat people up. You do not have a right to do those things. Two wrongs never makes a right. And people that were instigating that, funding that, and I've seen where some groups went in and were taping conversations when these groups were, like Veritas or somebody went in. Some of those conversations would upset a person because some of the things that were being talked about was how to hurt people. So that's not good. That's not pretty. And whatever that is, whatever you think of it, I'm just saying, if that happens, where they got evidence, and they should all go through the legal court process. If there's evidence, then people need to be arrested and tried if they've been committing crimes. Okay, enough said of all that. I don't know what that's going to do. That might quell down protest. Now, it's said they're going to take on both the left and the right. The KKK should definitely be arrested if they're out there doing anything. Anybody that's trying to hurt other people, don't need to be doing that. We need to have a peaceable transition here, peaceable country. Just don't come and take my spit, white cheater. Okay. All that said, the wag of the dog, the October surprise, all these things can happen before your eyes, before your very lives lay before us. This year has been over the top. It has been nuts. It's been a bad roller coaster ride from the beginning, with all kind of twists and turns. And it may not be done with us yet. And if the plans they've got set out there that I'll be talking about more in the future, that I talked about recently, on the 5th anniversary of a certain agenda, sponsored by the Nations of United. That thing, yeah. If they want to invoke all of that, then they're going to take us down the drain to get it pulled off. That means that this year would just be the little prelude. This year would be the warm-up. Let's hope that's not true. Let's really hope that is not true. Some people tell me it's not true. I hope you're right. So with that, I would say support my channel. Bang the update notification. Subscribe if you've not already subscribed. Bang the update notification bell. And also, I'd like to encourage you to grow your own food. You need to do that more than ever right now. Best thing to do is check my links to True Leaf Market that are in my show notes and in my pinned comments on most of my videos. True Leaf Markets is an excellent source of seeds and supplies for growing your food. You get all these wonderful seeds, garden seeds, microgreen seeds. Greg, it's too late to plant a garden. Well, you can grow indoors the microseeds and wheatgrass and sprouting. And you can get all the supplies you need to grow these too. That's the cool thing. And they tell you how to do it. And you can watch my videos on my channel below showing you how to do that in your living room. And I'll probably post some more. I quit posting those for a while because people got kind of tired of them. But I think I might start releasing. I filmed videos over 2 years ago. I never posted quite a few. I didn't post them because folks got tired of them. But we may do a few more because you don't even need to know how to do this. It's really vital skills. And you buy the heirloom seeds. That's what you can plant. Save the seeds, plant them next year and get the same plant back. Never do hybrid seeds. And a whole lot of seeds sold in a lot of your stores and garden centers are hybrid seeds. You plant those seeds back, you're not getting anything that's beautiful as what you started out with. Especially to a lot of the big tomatoes are that way. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They're hybrid. So you've got to watch that. Anyway, bam, I'm back. Anyway, everyone, if you watch this long, say, Greg, I get the point. So let's hope that we don't have any crazy October surprises this year, that things move along. We have a safe, successful election process, and let's hope the outcome is one that's peaceable, and let's hope we can preserve our rights in the end. Those that are concerned about that, I am. We have started a group called the Freedom Restoration Foundation. Yeah, get the restoration part. And right now, to email us, email me at hal5space@aol.com. That'll be in the notes too. Put freedom in the subject line, and if you're interested in our survival tribes, put survival in the tribe. Put tribes in the subject line. I got a new volunteer helping us with this email, and I think we're making some progress again. So everyone, with that I say thank you for watching.